So we have the full spoilers for chapter 30 of Boruto 2 Blue Vortex, and thankfully Himawari did not blow up the village, but we do have some political drama and someone might be on the chopping block, so let's just get into it. So the person on the cover is Mamushi, or Mamushis, more than one Mamushi, but yeah, the title is Nuisances, at least for now. It might change when the chapter comes out. By the way, you guys know the drill. I'm just gonna summarize what happens. I'm not gonna post any panels because of copyright. So the chapter opens with Mamushi on the ground before Team 10 because of course Chocho just slammed them using her expansion jutsu. Chocho then says, "Easier than pie," and Shikadai replied saying, "Alright, nice work, Chocho." But then we see that Mamushi isn't dead. He does get up and he also starts to multiply. And this is really important because everyone was saying Boruto had bad power scaling because of this reason, because Chocho was able to kill them. And of course I spoke about this in the prior spoiler as well, but this confirms it because we weren't really sure. But this confirms that, yeah, Chocho didn't one-tap Mamushi. He's still alive and well, and he doesn't appear to be significantly damaged in any way. So hopefully that clears that up. Now that is when we get the prior spoiler with Himawari firing the Biju bomb. And yes guys, unfortunately, Himawari is a crash out. She did indeed intend to fire a Biju bomb in the middle of the village. And Chocho and Shikadai had to tell her to wait, we're still in the village. And then they decided to throw the Mamushis into the sky and then she fired the Biju bomb to destroy them. Himawari then says, "Sorry, that was..." And then Shikadai says, "You just my ass. We won't always be here to back you up like we were just now. Fire with no warning again, and we might not make it in time." So based on what we're seeing here, Himawari didn't fire because she had some new compact Biju bomb that wasn't going to destroy the village. It seems to be the case that she either doesn't understand her destructive capacity, even though she has used the Biju bomb before and has seen what it was able to do. So it more so seems to be the case that she lost control or more so went into an instinctual mode to fire the Biju bomb, which as I mentioned in the prior video could be because she's tapping into that genetic side of her body, which is part Biju. And this I think is supported by her being apologetic before they explained what she did was wrong, which means she also knows that what she did was wrong. But yeah, hopefully we get to tap into this Himawari aspect a bit more, and maybe this has something to do with, Kaguya, maybe. We'll see. Now Inojin then says, "It's not working, Lord 8th. No matter how many we defeat, there's no end to them. Instead their numbers keep increasing. He's already surpassed 100. I can't even count them." Lord Kobu then tells them that he wants to interrogate the Hokage. It is his turn. Hurry up and bring him here. Sai then tells him that the village is being attacked by the Shinju, and there's been sightings of Boruto as well. We cannot guarantee your absolute safety. There is a high possibility you might be exposed to danger. It would be best for you to move to the evacuation area. Even so, Lord Kobu decides to resume the investigation, telling them to hand over the Hokage. We then switch to whatever operation they're doing in the village, and Shikamaru tells them to pause. He says that he wanted to eradicate Mamushi while his numbers were few, but it seems like that won't be possible. It's safe to say that the battle has progressed to the next phase. Don't panic. This is still within my predictions. We're changing the plan of action. Thankfully, there haven't been any reports of civilian casualties. The only substantial damage so far has been small-scale property damage. It is safe to say that anything other than his target is of low concern, as long as we don't attack him first, that is. Shikamaru is then cut off by the sensory unit, telling him that he's been summoned by Lord Kobu. Please proceed to the interrogation room immediately. Shikamaru then, of course, says, "Sorry, I'm a bit busy. Can we do this later?" Lord Kobu himself chips in and then pretty much tells him that he must obey or lose his job as the Hokage. This is a direct command. And of course, because Lord Kobu works for the daimyo, yada yada yada, Shikamaru has to comply. Of course, if Shikamaru decides to not step down as the Hokage, they could shut off trade routes or not give them any funding, you know, that typical political stuff. Now we then switch over to Boruto being nabbed by Ninja 017 and Ninja 012. And it's so funny because I know Boruto is caught off guard because he's speaking to Shikamaru, but I just can't believe Otsutsuki level Boruto is being knocked over by this basic ninja tool. I'm not sure if I'm going to show it on panel because of course on screen I mean, because copyright, but it's just one of those rope things that you throw and then it wraps around the person and Boruto is literally tumbling to the ground. It's crazy, it's funny. Now the guy then leans on Boruto and picks up his sword, and of course because it absorbs the chakra of anyone not registered to use it, it begins to absorb his chakra. Boruto then escapes by teleporting to his katana using FTG, and then tells the guy that he's a good liar, which is spelled L-I-E-R, and this more so refers to someone that hides and waits to ambush someone. So Boruto is pretty much calling him a good ninja. He then tells him that I'm saying this for your own good. If you see a Shinju, run. It would be a waste if you died. And then he jets off, flying off into the sky, as per usual. Now Shikamaru then tells Inojin to take over the mission. He's going to the interrogation room. Koji then tells him to bring his toad, and Shikamaru asks him if he has a plan. And Koji says, well, something like that. And then we have this panel of Boruto looking a bit concerned because he knows Koji. Now Koji then tells Inojin to stop the transmission for a moment. It can't be helped. First we have to overcome this obstacle. You're going to use a different jutsu. Shikamaru then walks into the room and Kobu says, so, you finally arrived. I grew tired of waiting, Mr. Shikamaru. Shikamaru then says, as I mentioned earlier, we have an emergency. Hurry up and get this over with. I want to go back to work. Kobu then says, that all depends on you, after all. You might lose your job depending on the circumstances, Lord Hokage. I've been suspicious of you from the very start. I have reason to believe that you were the one who let Boruto go. Shikamaru then says, what nonsense. And your basis for this is? Kobu then replied saying, how utterly transparent of you. My hunches are rarely wrong. Either way, I'll gather evidence soon. Why don't we do this, Mr. Shikamaru? Admit your crimes with honesty, and I might just make your sentence lighter. We should put an end to this sooner rather than later. Now that's when the toad that was inside Shikamaru's clothing peeps out at Lord Kobu. Koji then says, do it now. And Inojin then used the mind-body transfer jutsu on the toad that's in Koji's hideout, and it then reflects the jutsu onto Lord Kobu using the toad that's inside Shikamaru's clothing. So Lord Kobu is now being controlled by Inojin. And of course, because this is the mind-body transfer jutsu, his head fell to the table temporarily. Sai then rushed over asking if he's okay, and Inojin then looks up and says, Papa? But then he catches himself and says, part of my head feels a bit dry. My hair, that is. Koji then tells him to step outside. And Inojin says, let's take a break, I need some fresh air. Sai then says, but Lord Kobu. He then tells Sai to stand by here. This is an order. I'll be right back. Inojin then asked Koji what he's supposed to do. He then tells him to go up to the roof. Inojin then says, I don't really know what you're planning, but isn't this dangerous? Mamushi might come up here. What will you do if something happens to this person? Koji then says, end Kobu's life. And Inojin is shocked. He says, huh? Shikamaru then gets up from his seat and says, Sai, sorry, but I've got to go. I have work to do. Sai then says, wait, Shikamaru, explain. What are you having Inojin do? I'm surprised myself, but I confirmed it when I looked into his eyes. That was Inojin's mind transfer jutsu. Tell me, Shikamaru, what is going on? We then switch back to Inojin and Koji tells him to jump off the building if you have to. You can show him in a panic as Mamushi attacks, as long as you kill him. Inojin then says, hold up, this is a joke, isn't it? Koji then says, listen, there's no time for questioning the morality of the situation. Think about it rationally. It can't be helped. Kobu is fully our enemy. I'm not transmitting right now. The only ones that will know about this are me and you. No proof of this will remain. Inojin then says, "This is insane. Have you gone mad?" That's when Mamushi pulls up and says, "Hey, do you know where I can find a woman named Ada?" Koji then fires an attack using his toad, and it touches Mamushi. Mamushi then says, "The hell you doing, you bastard? You wanna die?" Koji then says, "Good, this will do." The side text then says, "One can't be choosy when fulfilling goals. Will Inojin act on rationality or morality?" So yeah, everyone is going crazy. Himawari is going crazy, Kobu is going crazy, Kashin Koji is going crazy. It's like everyone lost their mind this chapter. So I'm looking forward to what happens in 31. We'll see. With that said, that is it for the video. If you guys liked it, drop a like. If you're new, subscribe. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.